Hey everyone, good morning and welcome to Calvary Baptist Church. It's good to see everyone. This is Pastor Dan coming to you live from the sanctuary, and I am coming to you live today without Pastor Brad, and there is a reason for that. Brad is right now working on the return, and we are introducing a new hashtag CBC Return, as we get ready for a hopeful potential in-room return in just a couple weeks. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks already. We have been talking about a tentative return to in-room worship beginning the first Sunday in June. Now, what that would look like is multiple services, probably two services, multiple locations. So some people would be here in the sanctuary, and then we would also stream over to the fellowship hall. A lot of you have kind of said, now, if you're just going to stream, why would I sit there for a stream when I could be sitting at home streaming? I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But two key phrases we've been using is tentative, there's still a lot that needs to happen, and compliance with the government. 2 Sundays ago, so a week from yesterday, we announced that we would be sending out a survey to the Calvary family. That did not happen last week, but there is a reason that did not happen. We became aware that the state of Maine was scheduled to release a checklist for churches looking to reopen in June. And before we moved forward with our plans for reopening, we wanted to see what that checklist was going to be, what we would need to do to be in compliance. That checklist was originally scheduled to come out on Wednesday. And so on Wednesday, we waited, and then there came a note saying that the checklist would then be delayed until Friday. And so we had another couple days that we had to wait for that. And then in the meantime, the President of the United States made a strongly worded statement asking governors to declare churches as essential, essentially to give us the same legal standing as other businesses that have been declared essential. Some of you have asked about that and what that changes. I think most of us understand that it really changes nothing, but just to clarify, that was not the president making a mandate or himself making an executive order. That was the President of the United States strongly calling on governors to declare churches as essential, but he has not yet taken legal action. And so really legally that doesn't change anything for us other than to say that it was a strong statement of support from the president. But he said that on the same day that we were waiting for the state of Maine to release their checklist of what we would need to do to be in compliance. Here's where I started to get a little nervous with the state of Maine. First of all, that delay from Wednesday to Friday, because you can't help but think, why are they delaying this? And then not only that, but then Friday, it was late into the night before we were even able to see that checklist. And you just wonder, okay, what is the reason for the delay? What is it that is so hard about churches that they still can't figure this out and they have to keep pushing it down the road? And then we were starting to kind of hear rumors and speculation. Maybe they were going to mandate that we have to wear a mask the entire time that we're in the room in worship. If you've gone to the store and you've worn a mask, you know, after a while it starts to get a little hot, the idea of an hour wearing that mask. And then also the question of singing. Are we going to have to wear a mask while we're singing? That's literally going to stifle our singing. And then we started to wonder if maybe they were going to mandate that there be no singing at all. That is actually happening in other parts of the world. Because when we sing, we are projecting those droplets that are of such concern, the COVID-19. And so there are some places that are saying, so therefore don't project, don't sing. And it was a tense few days waiting for that. But then after 7 o'clock at night, Friday night, it was finally released. Now, when it was released, there have been a variety of responses to it, much of which has been negative. I loved it, and here's why. First of all, what I read, It was about being smart. It was about wisdom. It was about being careful to not put other people at risk. But even more important than that, I noticed and I loved the language they were careful to use. This checklist is not a checklist of mandates, but rather a checklist of recommendations. They have given us a great deal of latitude and freedom to do what we feel we need to do. And I can only imagine someone worked very close with the government to come up with that checklist and to advocate for churches. And I'll be honest also, after Wednesday night's Bible study on the relationship between state and government, I was also worried that the state of Maine was going to put us in a position where it was going to be very difficult to honor and respect them and still do what we wanted to do. And I feel like the state really came through for us, or maybe someone working with the state really came through for us. And the leadership of Calvary had already been working on a tentative plan. We had to put that on pause to see what that checklist was going to be. What we are seeing from the checklist is, I don't think it's going to change anything about what we were already planning to do. Now, there was one surprise that came in that checklist, is that they gave us permission to open 1 week earlier, which Calvary is not going to do. And here's why Calvary is not going to do it. We are not going to be ready to open this Sunday, May 31st. There's a lot that we need to do. I'd just be curious to see if we'll even be ready to be open on June 7th. Now, when I say that the state gave us recommendations, there are still some mandates that we're going to hang on to. There is a number restriction for being in the room. And then there is still some social distancing. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And that is part of the reason that there are things we need to do to get ready. There are a lot of things that need to be in place before we are ready to bring you back into the room. There's a lot of technology that needs to happen. In fact, if you tuned in at the very beginning, you may have caught a video. It's a video that we have played before, and I'm going to play it one more time, and here's why I'm playing it. As you're watching this video, take a look at our current setup. Now, I'm in the sanctuary right now, and we've got this camera placed very diligently, and it's me and it's my screen and this replacement for Brad, who's sitting in with me, who, now that I got him up there, you can barely see him anyway. But normally Brad is there. And then on Sunday morning, it also cuts to the worship team, and you can see them, and you can see the PowerPoint with words. Those are very carefully orchestrated camera angles. What you are not seeing is what is right behind the camera. So take a look at this video and notice the placement of everyone up on the stage, including our tech guy. Notice where he is placed. Notice the mess that we've made in the sanctuary right now, the wires that are everywhere. Watch this video, take a look at it, and then I will explain why it has to look like this. All right, here's a fun fact. I'm seeing Brad Walker chiming in on the Facebook chat stream. So I hope you saw the mess that this is. So this is why we can't just say, hey, come on back in Sunday morning. Because in order to live stream effectively, we have had to reset up the front of the sanctuary. To give you an idea of why we needed to set up like this to do live streaming, let's go back in time. Our very first live stream during this quarantine thing, it happened on March 22nd. Now I'm going to show a video that will show what the first live stream looked like and what the current live stream looks like. There will be no sound to this, but just for a blast from the past, take a look at this. All right, so you may have noticed that is a big size difference. The first video, Brad and I are very far back, and now we're much closer. Here's why. When you look at that first video, you may have noticed that we have all the technology, the computers, the cameras set up right here on top of the stage. That very first Sunday, the table was down on the floor. Now, it was only a few away. But our current web cameras are such that even when it's only a few feet away, notice again the huge size difference that makes. Just a few feet makes. Take a look again. So now imagine that we're bringing people back into the room and we've got to take all this setup, and to get it out of the way, we have to put it in the back of the sanctuary. We would look tiny if we did that. So here's what we're working on. We're working on a lot of things. We're working on our technology. We are working on our capability to live stream unobtrusively so that you don't have to deal with all the cameras up front as we are worshiping. We want to put them somewhere, either on the sides or in the back where they're not in the way, but we need new equipment in order to do that. Those of you who have been tuning in from the beginning, you know that we have struggled with sound, and we don't want to lose that quality that we have gained either. Which, first of all, let me take just a quick detour and say kudos to our tech guy for the work he has done. That's Nick Robbins, and if you know him, if you're friends with him on social media, give him a shout out. He's like Scotty on the Enterprise. He's a miracle worker. He's taken us far above what I thought he was going to do, and he works hard every week. And now we have some other people who are coming in to help us prepare for that. Another technological thing that we need to work on is that if we are going to live stream in the fellowship hall, we have known in the past that we've had connection difficulties, so we called our internet company. We asked them to check it out, and here was a surprise. The fellowship hall has been running DSL. If you don't know what DSL is, because it is so antiquated, it's slow, and they said there's no way you are going to be able to stream video in there. So we told them that we're going to need an upgrade to that room. That's actually where Brad right now. They are in the fellowship hall right now, upgrading that room in preparation for our return. So those are some technological things that we are working on. We are also working on procedures and guidelines for coming back together, because we know we can't just say we're going back to what it was before. It's going to be a new thing. And it's going to be a process to getting back to what we were before. And just like the state of Maine has stages, Calvary is going to have stages too. And we're trying to figure out what that looks like. We're working hard on that. We need volunteer staff to make this work. And we are working on getting the people together who are going to provide a certain degree of ushering and security and all of that. We're working on that. We know, because of the requirements and the requests of the state, that we are limited to 50 people in a room. There will still be social distancing between family units. If you are already living in the same household, we're not going to ask you to social distance because you've already cross-contaminated. But we are asking different households, let me rephrase that, we may ask different households to exercise social distancing. We're still trying to figure out how that works, but that's been a request of the state. Again, that's wisdom. We do not want there to be an outbreak at Calvary the way that there has been an outbreak in other churches. That's not good for us. It's not a good witness to our community. But part of the problem also is because of these size restrictions, we're trying to figure out who is coming and when. Because what we don't want is we don't want someone, especially someone who lives far away, to drive a significant distance, come and be told, we're already at capacity, we cannot let you in. So we are trying to maneuver all of this. These are all things that we are trying to work on. What I'd like to do right now is I'm going to put a picture up on your screen. Some of you have seen this. In fact, some of you saw, I posted this last night on Facebook. Now, just to be clear, I didn't post this to draw sorrowful attention to myself. I posted it for information. These are the sources of input that leaders in churches are receiving. That was just a quick glimpse of that. Again, if you're on Facebook, you can go to my page and you can see it. I'm also going to close out our live stream with that. But all of this is to say a lot of people are coming at this from different perspectives. Some of you are eager to get back in the room with your brothers and sisters in Christ. Some of you are kind of enjoying sitting back and doing church at home. And you're saying, there's no rush for me to come back. I got my feet kicked up on the dinner table. I'm having church with my dog. What's not to love? Some of you wish that we would be more rebellious. Others of you were critical of us for not ending live services sooner. Some of you want to get back to the way things were. Others of you are still genuinely concerned about a health danger that is out there. In fact, we have been asked, when we go back to in-person services, are we going to continue to live stream for the benefit of those who are not yet comfortable coming into a room with other people? The answer to that question is yes. I say all of this so that you hear me, that we hear you. We hear where you're coming from. Now I'm asking you to hear one another and to be respectful of people who are coming from a different perspective. In fact, in the weeks to come, you're going to hear me ask you to respect three things. First of all, to respect the procedure. We are working hard on this procedure, and we are seeking to do so in a way that shows respect to what the governing authorities are asking us to do. And I've said from the beginning that we are going to do this with respect and integrity. We're not going to say this is how we're doing it with a wink and a smirk and say once we get in the room it doesn't really matter. We're going to do this with respect and integrity, and I'm asking you to respect the procedure when we come back. I'm asking you to respect the people. I know a lot of us are feeling like social distancing is unnecessary. Some of us even feel like it's kind of silly, and you are missing those hugs and those handshakes at least. But keep in mind that some people are still very nervous. Please respect their feelings. Do not force a hug or a handshake on someone who is not ready for that. And then finally, I'm asking you to respect the leadership of Calvary. We are working hard on this, and we are working hard to do it right. When you come back in the room, please respect us in what we are asking all of us to do. So this week, if you are a part of the Calvary family, you should be getting an email from the church. Now, I don't know what go out, so here's what I'll say is if by Friday you have not heard from us, then please give the church a call. Now, we also know that not all of you have email, and we know who some of you are, so we're going to reach out directly to some of you. But again, if you have not heard from us by Friday, give the office a call, and then we'll get you hooked in to the information we are seeking from you. And that information will be critical in our plan to move forward and come back together again. Now, let me just go back to two questions I know some of you are asking. Some of you are asking, do I have to come back because I'm worried about my health? You do not have to come back when you're worried about your health. We will continue to stream for a time for those who are not comfortable coming back. Others of you are asking, do I have to come back? Because I like it better at home, especially if I'm going to end up in the fellowship hall and I'm going to stream it anyway. Consider this. Worship isn't about our comfort. In fact, worship isn't about us at all. Worship is not about us receiving. It is about us giving. And there is something very powerful about being in the room with other believers when we worship. That's why when we live stream, I'm so excited by those of you who are streaming live with us. I know you can't be in the room together, but you are together in that time of worship. And I love the YouTube chat. I love seeing people that are chiming in. I don't chime in because I'm here, but I see you, I hear you, I love what you're doing. I know not all of you are able to stream live, but I will just say that if you're not able to stream live or you're choosing not to stream live, you are missing out on a spiritual experience. And if just an enjoyment of being home is what's keeping you at home, then you're going to miss out on being in the room with your brothers and sisters in Christ. You're going to miss out on the fellowship. You're going to miss out on seeing people that you have not seen in a very, very long time. Something that I have said in the past, and that you're going to hear me say at our Bible study in a couple weeks, is that church is not a thing we do. It's not a place we go. It's who we are. In fact, when we are saved by Jesus Christ, 2 Corinthians 5:17 says that we are a new creation. Part of what Christ is renewing us is to be his church. Now, we are the church Monday through Saturday. Even when we were worshiping in this room, we were still the church the minute we left those doors. And we were no less the church on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, any of those days. We are always the church. And we have been the church for the past 2 months. Even when you're streaming at home, you are still the church. But there is a sense in which we are most the church when we come together. Don't lose out on who Christ has remade you to be. You are the church, and we are meant to be in fellowship together. And there is joy in being in the same room worshiping God. Now, I look forward to the day when we can all be in the same room again. We're not there yet. We're working on it. And it's going to be step by step. But until then, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your patience during this time. I just say again, we are working on it. God bless you all. Tune in Wednesday night for our continuing Bible study on the church's relationship between the church and the state. Tune in next Sunday for what might be our last entire live stream as we continue to talk about Abram and God's call in his life. Thank you, everyone. God bless.